Thanks, Ali. Welcome to the next session of this executive forum, which will be a panel discussion where we have four great panelists who are representing four companies that have been very successful in becoming data-driven organizations within their respective domains. We will use the panel as an opportunity today to discuss some of the key tenets and some of the key habits that these companies have developed over time. So without further ado, let me please introduce today's panel. We have Piyush Kumar, who is the VP of Data Engineering at MakeMyTrip, which is India's largest online travel group. Joining us is also Kirsty MacCulloch, who is the General Manager of Customer CRM and Data at Tabcorp. Tabcorp is Australia's largest gambling entertainment organization, and Kirsty leads the team to focus on building customer relationships at scale through a strong data strategy and governance. Welcome, Kirsty. Next, we have Kawai-san. She's the CEO of Japan Digital Design, a member of MUFG, which is Mitsubishi UFG Banking Group. And as the CEO, she leads various projects to digitize financial services. And last but not least, joining us is Rakesh Kalyankar. He's the head of data and insights at AusNet. And OZnet is an Australian energy infrastructure business and currently serves roughly 1.5 million customers in Victoria. Rakesh is currently leading an enterprise-wide data transformation that will see OZnet significantly transform the way it manages its business today. Okay, so on behalf of the audience and on Databricks, let me extend my gratitude and thanks for the panelists for joining us, for giving us some time today. So let me start the things off. One thing we often hear from highly effective data-driven organization is that they align their technology and data strategy with business vision and goals. And they do this so that they can drive truly transformational change, not just evolutionary change, by getting buy-in all through all the layers of the organization. So Kirsty, if I can start with you first. Tabcorp has established itself as Australia's largest gambling entertainment organization and embarked on a journey a while ago to become data-driven. What are some key insights you can share with the audience on how you went about aligning goals vision of Tabcorp with your data strategy, and how important has this been to your success?
Absolutely. Look, we didn't align our data strategy, we didn't align our business goals to the data strategy. We had a really clear vision around increasing our personalization capability within the organisation. It wasn't something we were doing as well as we would like. And what we needed to do was invest in increasing that capability. But to do that, we really had to bring together not just our data strategy, but our marketing technology and customer systems strategy, but also our people plans and how we work and organise ourselves. So it was those three things that needed to come together across what's been a 2-year journey so far, in our 3rd year, to really take us from a place where we were maybe not competing as well as we liked to really advancing our efforts in that space and really transforming the work. But a lot of it was really around the sequencing as well. So getting the data strategy right and understanding how it fit into the overall plan was absolutely fundamental.
That's great to hear. And Kirsty, for the audience, just as a follow-up question, for the executives who are listening in, what were the key business and technical teams you had to bring on this journey? And any tips for the execs who may be embarking on a similar journey to yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So this was driven really top down. We got endorsement from our board, who were incredibly supportive of the approach. But what we really needed together was pull together all our key partners. So I'm on the business side, but we needed to bring together our technology teams, so both our platform and our data teams. Also people like our commercial teams, because we needed a little bit of money to make it happen. and our strategic partners. So Databricks was clearly one of those. We also worked with Versa and really strongly with Adobe. But interestingly enough, one of the core support areas has been our people and culture team, our HR team, because we knew from the very beginning that it didn't matter how big our investment was into the data and the technology. If we didn't have the right teams with the right skills and we weren't organised the right way, we were never going to be able to make best use of it once we finished the delivery phase.
Thanks, Kirsty. Very insightful. So it sounds like you pretty much brought the entire organization and got them aligned, which is great to hear. Piyush, MakeMyTrip is another great example of an organization that has embraced data as a core of its business. Today, it provides more than 45 million users a month with a personalized user experience, which is a great achievement. Piyush, what insights can you share with the audience on how MakeMyTrip went about achieving this great achievement of 45 million users a month?
Sure, Kunal, and thanks for having me on the panel conversation and allow me to share our experiences with the audience. So on a very high level, if you want to see from the MakeMyTrip online travel group, we have multi-brand, we have MakeMyTrip, GoIbibo, Redbus, and beneath it, we have different line of businesses, starting from air travel to accommodation business in hotels and alternative accommodations to we have bus travel, and then so periphery of other services which are used by different travelers across, right? So the question which you asked was so how we align our data strategy along with so our technology strategy with the business goals and business values, right? So the alignment comes naturally because to the whole piece, as I said, so these are different services offered across different brands to various customers across India and other countries as well. So one of the key things which has really helped us derive most of the key things internally is business-wise, MakeMyTrip is positioned to be the super app of travel, and data is the only key things which makes the glue between all the events which or interactions a user is doing on the platform. So for example, so if a person is interested in air travel, and then the data is helping us model this on a high level into a graph where so a vertex is representing the destination of travel and edge is representing the product sold or so searched or the intent shown by the customer. And we use this data to figure out, okay, what are the opportunities, etc., to derive all personalized experiences for a customer. So the personalization is not coming just by one thing and rightfully put up both by Ali and Arslan. And then conversation is so data and AI go hand in hand, right? So the example just I gave was so the data and the modeling which you did. But again, so the recommendation engines which are powering the experiences which a customer sees is equally important, right? So what we have currently at MakeMyTrip is primarily so the complete data flow is now powering all the customer experiences. So every interaction leads to a different experience or an enrichment into that customer experience itself. So that's how the alignment is. And yeah, so we started very early, very similar to other companies' data journey itself, from hindsight to insight to foresight, right? So that's how the journey has been. So for us.
No, thank you, Piyush. And I guess if I can just ask a follow-up on that, sounds like you've been on a long journey, and it sounds like you've pulled together lots of different brands, different parts of businesses to achieve this milestone. How did you go about prioritizing use cases or initiatives that you targeted? I'm assuming there were lots of initiatives and use cases you had to implement to get this done. Anything you can share with the audience on how you prioritized?
Sure. On the prioritization front, right? Obviously, like the more you get a business value out of it, right? So that take precedence. But fundamentally, our approach has been to invest one on the platform side of it, because any investments on building the platforms go very in a long run itself. So the prioritization has been in two fronts. One, looking at short-term and long-term goals, aligning the use cases which we want to deliver right now, either through investments, which I said, working on some of the platform building capabilities like feature store in-house, which we did invest in 2019, and it's been almost close to 3 years now running that show. So those investments and prioritization on platform and building those data products helps with the short-term and long-term goals of the organization itself. So some of the use cases which early organization starts very early, for example, customer segmentation, doing matching offers, etc., and to fraud detection, etc., and then the real investments onto how my ranking algorithms look like, how the pricing is going to be, and that's how the curve looks like, right? So as I said, right, so it's very similar to other organizations, and the data journey portrayed by Gartner and a slide by Arslan also talked about it, right? So from people move from the very initial stuff wherein they want to see how what has happened, and then utilizing it into their customer segmentation and basic capabilities to why did it happen, to what will happen, and how will we really make it happen. And that's where the real AI and machine learning helps you achieve some of the key things. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Piyush. That's very insightful. So I think the key takeaway I took was you invested in platforms and you prioritize use cases based on business value. And that's how you've built up to your key milestone today. So thank you so much for sharing that. Now, I'm going to switch slightly, talk about in Ed's welcome keynote, he shared the results of a recent study by MIT Insight Research, which showed that only 13% of organizations in APJ are currently successfully delivering on their data and AI initiatives. Now, Rakesh, one organization that has been very successful in delivering on its data and AI initiative in recent times is AusNet. They embarked on a data as an asset strategy to bring about transformative change. Rakesh, it would be great if you can share a bit about AusNet's journey in data as an asset strategy. And what were some of the key challenges you had to overcome to make this initiative a success and be in this 13% of organizations in APJ?
Thanks, Kunal, and thanks for having me. Very excited to be here. Just for some context for those of you who may not know what AusNet is and what we do. So we are a utilities company, and we own and manage transmission, distribution, and gas infrastructure across various parts of the state of Victoria here in Australia. At our core, we basically build and manage assets, and we manage our networks. And most of the focus is doing this in a very efficient manner and doing this in a very, very safe manner. From a corporate strategy standpoint, there's 4 key themes our leadership wanted us to focus on. So things like customer passion, energize people, operational excellence, and accelerate growth. So when we started drilling down into the corporate strategy, and together as a digital division, when we started thinking about how we need to respond to bring the vision to life, it became very clear very soon that data and analytics was going to be a very, very key part of us enabling the corporate strategy. So in a way, we were almost forced to become a data-driven organization. Otherwise, we had no chance to achieve our corporate objectives. So for us, thinking back, step 0 was really to pass a message and instead of culture or mindset shift in the company, that we need to start treating data as an asset. So you need to build, grow, manage, and retire data, just as you would manage an electrical asset. So a circuit breaker or a transformer, you install it, you maintain it, and you retire it, right? So that's exactly how data should be treated. So that was really the genesis of how we conceptualize the data as an asset strategy. Now, from a tactical standpoint, for us to achieve the company objectives, there were a number of programs we needed to sort of embark on that were all backed up by data and analytics. One of the most obvious ones, us being a asset-intensive industry, was really to optimize our asset strategy and maintenance planning using data and analytics. So we've recently embarked on a journey we call asset risk modeling, or ARM, which is looking to implement engineering models and machine learning models to calculate condition and criticality scores that will help us manage assets better and basically help us make better informed decisions on what to manage, when to manage, and how often to manage. We're doing really cool stuff in terms of helping us modernize the networks as well. So, for example, we're building capabilities on the data platform to enable a future marketplace that allows interactions of distributed energy resources, so things like solar and wind and so on. As you can imagine, for our business, situational awareness is really important. So we've embarked on a journey to develop spatial analytics capabilities. We are currently building capabilities to provide real-time visibility into things like outages, works, and assets. And at the same time, we're also working on providing real-time analytics based on external data feeds, right? Weather, traffic, incidents, emergencies, so on and so forth. Now, more broadly speaking, we quickly realized that as a data team, we cannot be the only experts in the company. So very soon, we're going to be focusing on data literacy and data adoption as well. Now, from a technical standpoint, Kunal, similar issues to other companies in the industry, too many systems, a lot of legacy data warehouses. And one of the key decisions upfront we made was choosing Azure and Databricks as the data platform. And the great thing was all of the initiatives that I mentioned earlier, they all required a certain, like the same set of data and platform capabilities for us to execute those programs. So in the past 18 months or so, we stood up what we call a foundation business case. So a business case, a project that basically sets up the foundational capabilities and ingests the data for all the business use cases to leverage. So we're very much taking the platform-centric approach to delivering data capabilities and certainly eliminating silos and things like that by doing this as well. So just touch upon a couple of quick challenges. I'm sure everyone has faced similar issues, but getting funding for the data investments was and will continue to be a big challenge. And for context, what we were planning to do as in build an enterprise data platform to basically transform how the entire company works hadn't been done in the utilities industry. So we're basically asking the leadership team to have faith in us. And they did. It took us a few months, but now I think we're starting to see the benefits of that. So funding was a challenge, and we're operating at quite a large scale. All those programs are happening in parallel. So obviously we have issues with dependency management, delivery, technology, and things like that when you operate at such scale.
Oh, thank you, Rakesh. That resonates, I think, with most of what we've already heard, which is getting alignment from the top, getting the funding, and going and investing in a platform for the future. And in your case, you have gone into an Azure plus Databricks as a platform to build upon your foundational use cases. Thank you. I think that really helps. I would like to pivot to Kawai-san. Now, Japan Digital Design has fashioned itself as a data-driven organization that brings finance, business, and technology together. What have been some of the key challenges that JDD had to overcome to become a data-driven organization, especially given you're in such a regulated industry like finance? Okay.
Thank you very much for having me on the panel. I'm so delighted to be here. The Japan Digital Design, our company is the affiliated company of the Mitsubishi UFJ Banking Corporation, the Mitsubishi UFJ, the financial group, which is one of the largest banking group in Japan. Banks all around the world, and have been quite famous in keeping data very close to them, the data to themselves in a very secretive environment, like the mainframe on premises. And it's doing so from its own reasons, because the breach of the privacy, the breach of the data security is quite the prohibitive to the banking business, because banking business is based on the trust from the client. Any of the breach of the security or the privacy will severely damage that trust. And also, as mentioned, the banks are operating in a highly regulated environment, and all the regulators impose the very strict regulations on the data privacy and also the security. So and also like the financial business itself is basing its profitability on the data or the information derived from the data. Like if you want to make money from the loans, you need to evaluate the borrower's credibility, and that's driven from the data. So that's the resource of your profit. So I mean, from many reasons, the banks want to keep the data as secure as possible and to themselves as possible. So secrecy has been the solution, the answer to those issues. Having said that, of course, banks now realize that they really need to use the data first to serve their clients better, and also to use the data, or to some extent to share the data with the society in order to use the data to understand the economic and financial developments of the society better. So in order to it's not easy at all to overcome those long-term habitual the thinking of the banks to keep the data in the secrecy or to open the data kind of thing. And Japan Digital Design, it's an affiliated company, but it's a separate entity from the bank, and our existence is one of the solutions to that to the issue. So we created the financial group has created Japan Digital Design outside of the bank, and within on our platform, JDD's platform, we have the cloud-based data storage, and we have Databricks to analyze the data which is kept on the cloud. And that environment could never have been achieved within the bank if we are within the bank with this speed and also with this easiness, I would say. So maybe this is not the only solution, but this is one of the solution, or the attempts of the solution, in order to utilize the data held by the banks better.
Thank you, Kawa-san. That's very insightful. So having a separate entity outside of the bank, which is helping them innovate, investing in a cloud-first strategy, and adopting a platform that helps you do ML and AI sounds like they were all key for you becoming a data-driven organization. Thank you. So I think last but not least on this topic, Piyush, we already heard from MakeMyTrip on how you align their data strategy with business goals, which has been part of your success. What were the other critical success factors you can point towards? And I'm also keen to understand what were some of the key critical technology challenges you had to overcome to become successful?
Sure, Kunal. There were many things, many challenges, I would say, because in our case, we started our data journey seriously, having a separate data platform and data science teams, highly invested on those kind of things, almost 8 years back, very similar to the foundation of Databricks itself. So, but any platform you would categorize on data side of it has to do the data capture and the ingestion part of it, to do the processing both in real time and batch. And the key part here is going to be where you store that data, either in raw format or post-processing, after post-processing, and utilizing all those key things in a unified manner, right? So the unification of the tooling is super critical, right? So you can't like pick and choose, like, so all those for a better word, like, so any fancy projects out there, either open sourced or from the market, to like so plug and play and build it. For us, unification was like one of the key things, and the seamless integration. And where probably like so Databricks actually helped us during our feature store journey as well, wherein like so primarily one on like so bringing the right quality data, so all the data quality measures from starting from the source data capture to the data lake and over Delta itself was one key thing. And the arrival earlier, like, so if I compare, like, so all our pipelines were like mostly bringing in the data in the data lake in a batch fashion, which was transformed by the by keeping most of the critical things on Delta, has led to like, so for example, a minute frequency we have, like, so all the data which is flowing in from our Kafka streaming sources on the data lake, right? So that's like the refresh frequency and the latency has really like been on a lower side using this. The other key part is Spark on the processing engine side of it has given us a unified API to process the similar stuff, like so the data streams either generated in Kafka or the data residing in Delta tables in S3, right? So the unification of streaming and batch is again like so powered through those Spark related stuff was a challenge earlier and in our data journey. And the other key part is the metadata which is generated, right? So it's not just like, so for example, if I talk about Delta itself, it's not just the storage. We are also getting good amount of metadata through Delta tables itself, which helps us not just in faster processing of the data, but also managing the lineage and the pipelines all across really well. So yeah, Databricks is really helping us as a good partner on bringing us and building the core platform in-house and doing that great integration.
Oh, that's great to hear, Piyush. I think if I can summarize the key takeaway, as Arslan mentioned in his keynote, you went for the easy button. You went for something that gave you a unified platform, so you didn't have to go and build these things, but you can go and get this as a platform as a service. And the other one was key was governance and metadata, especially focusing on data quality, which is key in the lakehouse paradigm, which is making sure your data is of high quality so you can be successful with AI. Thank you. That makes a lot of sense. Thanks for the insight. Now, we often hear, and we heard briefly from Arslan today, that data and AI is a team sport. Hence, building the right teams, giving them access to high quality data, something which Piyush also mentioned, and providing a platform to facilitate this collaboration are key to success. So Kirsty, I'm keen to hear from you. What has Tabcorp's experience been here when it comes to getting your data technology teams all to collaborate? And what role has that played in your success?
It's been an incredibly important part of our experience to make sure we've got the right team in place. It really resonated with me when we were talking earlier about how much work gets done in the tiny red box. And we really wanted to make sure that what we put into place enabled our data science teams and our machine learning engineers to actually work in the domain. So we protect them. They work in the customer domain and they don't work across all of our different domains across the business. So that's one thing that we do. And we allow them to focus on their job. So we have data scientists embedded in cross-functional agile teams focused on bringing personalization experiences to our customers across all of our digital channels and our owned platforms. Their job is to get in there, muck about with the data and bring it to life for the people who talk to our customers. But they can't do that if they don't have other people in the team sitting alongside them, looking at the patterns and the way we create models and the way we standardize those and productionize them. And then of course, the support on the platform itself and making data available.
I could talk about it forever, but we're nearly out of time. So I'll go back to Ed.
Thank you, Kirsty. I think we're running out of time, but I think what I heard was providing a platform for your data science business teams so they can all collaborate together has been key for you to offer this personalization experience. Folks, we are sadly out of time. And I know if people had questions, please feel free to put them in the chat window. We probably won't have time for the Q&A, but we are still going to be around to answer it. Ed, back to you to help us wrap up.